Welcome to MultiVerse Studio. I am Babai, and in this video I have shown amazing techniques to make particle effects using Adobe After Effects. So let's jump into the tutorial so that you can learn something new from this video.
I'm going to make a new composition of 1920 by 1080 and the duration will be like 10 seconds. I may change the duration during my creation. So for that I'm going to go to the layer and make a new solid, preferably black, and click the make comp size and click OK. So now I'm going to bring the particulars from trap code like this, and by default this is the particle that you can get, and to create it you need to go to click the designer. Okay, so let's create with the basic particles what we get in the default. So this is the master system, and I have explained all these in my previous tutorial, so I'm not going to explain everything here. So let's just make the effect to show you how you can create it. Okay, so double click on this emitter type to see visually what each emitter types look like. Okay, so let me just click the sphere and it looks something like this. If I click the box and so on, so let's make it with sphere. Here you can also use OBJ objects from geometrical shapes to normal objects and so on. So here I'm going to use a geometrical shape like a cylinder. So now we need to click on the motion to either you can use the values to increase or decrease or create your effect, or you can double click it to visually see what you're gonna do. So the motion is here, and this is the default motion, is spreading everywhere. Bidirectional will simultaneously go apart from each other, as well as the direction will go in any particular direction. Disk will go like this, inwards will go like this, outward will go like this, and zero motion is it will fill the whole object with the particles. So we are going to use the outward motion in this tutorial. You can also click the particle type by double clicking here. Either you can use the values or you can visually look at each and everything. So from here we gonna use something like this cell. Okay, so let's create with cell. Now you have to double click emitter type because it's so much particles going on. So for that I'm going to reduce to 300. This is the size and rotation. I will prefer you to use this one, decrease and flicker. Also in the opacity, click the fade and flicker option. You can also change the color from here. I would not recommend you to change the color from here because I will explain that later in the video. So this is the shadowlet. It actually creates a huge bunch of particles along with it. So I will not use it because it will definitely slow my PC. This is the gravity. It's on the default gravity. If you click the heavy gravity, it will fall down. Likewise, if you click the negative gravity, it will go up, and standard gravity will also fall down in a different speed. So let's the gravity be default. I'm going to use the physics. By default, it's turned off, and there are multiple effects which has the physics, some effects which doesn't. It doesn't, but I am going to use the physics. So there are physics properties. Physics is something which actually defines how the particle will react and how the particles will move. So I'm going to click buoyant tube. As you can see, it's rotating around the cylinder. You can also click this tube swell, which will also rotate around the cylinder but in different speed and different motion. In this tutorial I'm going to use this buoyant tube because it's also moving upwards, this side and this side, you can see by the arrows. Now if I click the aux, what aux does is aux actually create trails of the individual particles. Okay, so if I click this aux trail, you can see something like this, and if I click this one, it will also create something like this. By default it doesn't have any trail, so let's create the aux trail. Okay, and again if you double click the emitter, you can change the particle per second from this place. So now let me just reduce the particles to 200 and it looks pretty good. So now let's click apply, and as you can see it came in our timeline. So it's better if you are working with multiple systems, you always click here to show the system which you are working and select that and do the changes. You can use up to 8 systems, and I am only working in one system, that is the master system. Okay, so let's click on the emitter, master's emitter. So I'm going to change the position subframe from linear to extra slow so that it will move extra slowly. It's like a cylinder and it's going upwards while rotating around it. So you can also check the velocity, change the velocity to like 320 and it will become faster. and so on. Let me make it 100 for now, and I may change it later. Like this, let's go to the particle tab inside it, and if you change the life per second, it will increase the length of this animation. Then you have to change the duration in the composition. So I'm not going to change anything from here now, but I will change the size from 4 to like 6, okay, so that it will move like this way. And I'm also going to go inside the aux system and change the size from 4.4 to 2, so that the trails you are seeing right now, it will become smaller. So now as you can see, the trail has become smaller. It looks beautiful now. You can change according to your own preferences. So let me just bring it down a little bit by going to the emitter tab and just bringing the position Y value downwards. Okay, looks perfect. So now let me just bring this to quarter. So now I want this to disappear in the 10th second. So for that, let me just make a keyframe in the particle per second at 8th frame, and in the 9.15 frame, let me just make it 0, or maybe just click this layer and press U on the keyboard to see where are the keyframes are, and you can also change the keyframe from here. Let me just do it on 9, and also let me just increase a bit. Let me just increase the timeline duration like 13 seconds, and then I also have to stop the layers and increase it. So now as you can see, it will disappear. Wow, pretty cool, right? So you might ask, what is this and what is this? So this is the FX layer, and I will recommend you to rename it FX or whatever you are going to do, and also color code it by clicking here and make a different color like yellow, so that you can understand what you are doing. So if I uncheck this, so this is the place where the emitter is taking out, is the obj file, and this is the sprite file. It is basically 128 by 128 pixels, or might be 256 by 256 pixels. You can also create it, and I will definitely make a different tutorial how you can create your own sprites using your own video very soon. So please subscribe to my channel, and let's continue with this tutorial. Let me just make it a keyframe here on the 1st second by clicking this button, and in the 5th second, let me just increase the particle per second count to 300. So it will generate more particles at that time, and then gradually decreasing and ultimately disappearing. The backbone is ready. Now we need to change few things, like you can increase the size a bit more, like if you do 50, size will become very high, and it will look something like this. So it's totally different thing right now, but I would recommend if you increase the size, you also decrease the life. And the size, make a keyframe of 50. Second, let me just bring it to 25, and in the 4th second, let me just make it to 30. It's a random value I am using. You can choose anything you want. In the 7th second, let it be 20 maybe. Okay. In the 10th second, it will be like 5, and it will automatically disappear. Okay. So we have created the backbone of our particle effect. So now we need something to decorate our effect. For that, I'm going to use the glow effect from plugins everything. It's deep glow. Let me just bring it here. Let me just decrease the 0.4, and let's decrease the radius to 5. Okay. You can also use chromatic abbreviation by clicking this enable button, red and green. So it will create an aura around it, and also you can increase the amount. You can see there is an aura of other thing which is going on. Motion, I don't like that much. Let me just bring it down to like 0.18. It looks pretty cool. Now give some sharpness like 9, and this is what we have created so far.
So I hope you like this video. If you do, please drop a like, and if you're new to my channel, please subscribe me for more interesting VFX tutorials as well as VFX packs and more interesting videos waiting for you to watch. Thanks for watching and have a great day.